Good afternoon and good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel and coffee stream number 161. And I hope everyone's having a really good day today, and they had a great rest of the day yesterday. Boy, oh boy, do I have a bunch of news that will make us go, what the hell? Oh my goodness, the news today is just stupid. Basically all I can say to that is the news today is stupid. Um, I've got about nine stories for us today. Some from Pinkalo, some from Gunfox. Let's before we jump into the news, though, say hello to chat. Hello, Rolling Bear. Good to see you here. Duck Dog is here. Fury Kitten is here. Calvic AD is here. Let's see. Fury Kitten, I already said. All You Need. Blake Hanley, also. Good morning and afternoon to you. I hope everyone, like I said, is having a great morning and afternoon. Got my coffee all set up and got my stories already. So I hope everyone's ready for some news today. Lots of wow, I think, is going to be said today. I think wow is going to be the word of the day. So let's switch over to the Twitter machine and jump into those DMs and get the news ready here. Let's see. We're going to tackle the stories from Pinkalo first, because he found some really funny ones today. Some pretty stupid ones. But first, the first one we've got from him today is actress pleads guilty to college admission scam case. So that's interesting. Seamus is here. Ah, Green Thunder is also here. Hello. I'm having a great time. I can nearly focus, so might be sobering. Skep is here. Hi, Skep. Armskillerf is here. Yes. No, it's not a different scandal. She's just pleading guilty to the one that we've heard about. Let's see. Let's get out of this video here. All right, here we go.
Academy Award-nominated actress Felicity Huffman appeared in Boston federal court Monday and pleaded guilty to a charge stemming from the massive Varsity Blues college entrance scandal. Academy Award-nominated actress Felicity Huffman appeared in Boston. Link. Varsity Blues that ensnared dozens of parents. Link. Academy Award-nominated actress Felicity Huffman appeared in Boston federal court Monday and pleaded guilty to a charge stemming from the massive Link. Varsity Blues college entrance scandal that ensnared dozens of parents nationwide who prosecutors say lied and bribed to get their children into elite schools.
Which is something you always want to do for your children, right? You always want to lie and bribe them their grades and their admittance into educational institutions, because that's helpful for your children. We at the Blind Press channel totally support not letting your children do things for themselves. Oh wait, no we don't. That's totally sarcasm. Oh my God. Why do parents do this? Why? What is the point? Like, do you want your children to stay living with you forever? Is this the new thing? It used to be, get them ready and when they're 18, get them the fuck out. What happened to that? I have a migraine from the amount of stupid coming from the commies in my state's Congress today, says Seamus. Oh boy. Bulldozer parents set their kids up for failure, says Calvic AD. They really do. Why, says Skeptalk. Yeah. Oh, it teaches honesty, yeah.
Huffman, 56, agreed to plead guilty to a charge of link, conspiracy to commit mail fraud and honest services mail fraud. Period. Through tears, Huffman acknowledged she was guilty of paying $15,000 to arrange for a college entrance exam proctor to correct her daughter's answers and for her daughter to be allowed more time to take the test.
Oh my God, through tears, of course, through tears. Because, anytime an Academy Award winning anybody starts crying, I'm like, yeah, crocodile tears. Yeah, I'm sure you're sad. Like, through tears, of course. Because tears are totally going to fix everything. Tears are going to make it all go away.
In exchange for her plea, federal prosecutors consented to recommend a sentence of 4 months imprisonment, a year of supervised release, and a $20,000 fine.
Oh, celebrities gotta go to jail. Which means celebrities gonna go to a really nice, cushy jail that probably the same one that Martha Stewart went to. Tears are the best lube. Oh my, Fury Kitten. It sucks being anything liberty-based in a world of autocrats. Yeah. Isn't Huffman really the victim here, says Skep? Um, let's see. The amount of fake tears they have could fill up an ocean. That's how many fake tears there are. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, no, I know you're sarcastic here, Skip. Yes, she's totally the victim. She's a victim of stupidity because she paid 15 grand to have someone cheat for her daughter.
In a statement last month, Huffman said she is prepared to accept her punishment. I am pleading guilty to the charge brought against me by the United States Attorney's Office, Huffman said in her statement. I am in full acceptance of my guilt, and with deep regret and shame over what I have done, I accept full responsibility for my actions and will accept the consequences that stem from those actions.
See, and here's the other thing that parents that do stuff like this don't think about when they do it. It's not only will they get punished because they'll get caught, but now anything that your kid does successfully from now on, someone somewhere is going to think who helped them do it. Because you couldn't keep your nose out of your kid's fucking educational business when they got to college, and you had to cheat. You're setting your kids up for abject failure. Good, hang yourself, bitch, says Skep Talk. Yes, you will accept your responsibility and the consequences. It isn't a choice. Yeah. She does not regret doing the crime. She regrets getting caught, says Armskiller. Yep. Absolutely. These are not regretful tears because she's done something wrong.
The actress, famous for her Academy Award-nominated role in the 2005 movie Transamerica and for playing one of the main characters in the ABC television show Desperate Housewives, allegedly gave $15,000 to William Rick Singer, who prosecutors identified as the ringleader of the nationwide scam, to participate in the college entrance exam cheating scheme on behalf of their oldest daughter, court documents allege.
I'm sorry, you don't get to call that a scam. Everyone should know that cheating on college entrance exams is bad. That's not a scam that he did. That is just a big cheating ring that a bunch of people participated in. You didn't scam them out of any money. You can't. I'm sorry. Scam implies that someone somewhere thought that this was, legal in some form or other. And right. Let's see. In all honesty, this is what happens when you end up using universities as a status symbol. That's all it is to these people. Actually, you're right, honey. That is a good point. That's a really good point. People don't look at people don't look at universities as a place to get educated anymore. They look at universities as a place, what school can I go to look good? It's sad. Let's see. Ain't nothing for you here. There was nothing legit about this. Yeah, I know, Scap. Like I don't understand how they're calling this a scam. Like
Felicity Huffman arrives with her brother Moore Huffman Jr. at federal court, May 13th.
oh, that's a picture.
Huffman 2 Upper 190. Felicity Huffman arrives with end of. Huffman said in court Monday that she had no knowledge that singer allegedly paid Igor Dvorsky a test administrator for the College Board and ACT, and Mark Riddle, who allegedly took rigged test scores for students, to facilitating cheating scam on behalf of her daughter.
Okay, but the thing that you paid him to do in the first place is wrong, and the fact that you didn't think that it was wrong is absolutely ridiculous to me. The fact that you paid someone to fix your daughter's entrance stuff in the first place is absolutely insane to me. And the fact that you were like, "Oh, well, I didn't know he paid these people to do more stuff," that doesn't make what you did right, okay? It makes you look even more stupid than you already are. Let's see. I still can't believe people thought it was a good idea to cheat to pay their way into college. I know. I know. It's insane to me that A, they thought that this was a good idea, and B, that they're actually trying to go with the I was scammed angle. This is I don't understand this.
But everything else Mr. Rosen said I did, Huffman said in court, referring to Assistant U.S. Attorney Eric Rosen, who outlined the charge against her. Prosecutor said Huffman helped facilitate the scheme by having her daughter diagnosed with a learning disability, an excuse that allowed girl extra time to take her SAT exam.
Oh, wow. That is true, because if you have a learning or physical disability, you do get extra time to take exams. Like, for example, I used to get I think it was time and a half. So the allotted exam time plus an extra half of whatever the exam time was. So, for example, if it was an hour and a half exam, I would get an hour and a half plus another 45 minutes. Because it does take a little bit longer to read Braille and then to input the answers into the computer and all this stuff. So if she did classify, like, get her daughter diagnosed specifically to get extra time, that is really, that is facilitating the thing, and that is in itself a scam, in fact. Plus, how dumb do you have to be to fail a college entrance exam? Yeah, I know, right? Hi, Costin. College is essentially a way to get an expensive piece of paper at this point. Yeah, that's very true. So let's see here.
Crying in court, Huffman sought to clarify that a neuropsychologist who diagnosed her daughter with a learning disability had been seeing her since she was 8 years old and had nothing to do with the scheme.
I'm sure. And even if that's true, the way because of your actions, nobody's going to believe you now. Do you see what happens when you cheat and you lie and you bribe, nothing you say afterwards will be taken at face value because of what you've done.
The agreement Huffman reached with prosecutors requires her to relinquish her right to appeal both her conviction and her sentence. In exchange, the government agreed to recommend a lesser sentence and to not bring additional charges.
Okay, so she's made an agreement that as long as she doesn't try to appeal her conviction or her charges, she'll get a lesser sentence. I suppose that's a good agreement. I don't know why they would need to do that. I don't know why she would even think that she had a chance of appealing her conviction. That's just ridiculous.
There is a trade here. They've given up something, U.S. District Court Judge Indira Talwani told Huffman, referring to federal prosecutors. Huffman was ordered to return to court on September 13th to be sentenced. The actress claimed in her statement last month that her daughter knew absolutely nothing about my actions, and in my misguided and profoundly wrong way, I have betrayed her.
Yes, you have. You have told your daughter, first of all, that you don't have faith in her intelligence and her abilities to be an adult. And this is what all of the parents that have taken part in this whole scandal did. They told their children that they had no faith in their intelligence, no faith in their abilities as students or as people, and that basically they had no faith in their abilities to move forward as adults because here I have to do everything for you and get you into college. And like what were they going to do, buy their diploma for them? This is I could never do this for my kid. It wouldn't be for my kid, it would be for me. Anything that these parents did was for them, not for their kid. They were not trying to help their kid. This is a complete ego boost for the parents. Um, let's see. Parents will coddle their children to their deaths, leaving behind a generation of people who will not be able to fend for themselves in any capacity. Agreed. By their diploma, imagine my shock. Yeah. Yeah, this is getting out of hand.
Huffman and her husband, actor William H. Macy, later made arrangements to pursue the scheme a second time for her younger daughter before deciding not to do so. Court documents allege Macy was not charged in the scam.
Wait, they thought about doing it again? Wow. Okay. No, the only regret they have is that they got caught. I mean, yes, they backed out of doing it again, but the fact that they thought about it at all a second time shows that there is no learning from their mistake. The only reason they probably didn't go through with it was because they were afraid of getting a further charge. Look what they're doing. They're bringing back home ec and shop classes, but calling them adulting classes. It's fucking stupid, says Pincalo. It is. It is stupid. Nothing for you here says, I've been testing above college level education since the 3rd grade, but I've learned way more than outside the education system than in it. We need to teach kids to self-educate. Absolutely. Absolutely. Adulting classes. It's the dictation.
On March 13th, federal prosecutors announced that 50 people, including 33 wealthy parents, were charged in the largest college cheating scam ever prosecuted by the U.S. Department of Justice.
Wow, 50 people. Over half of them are parents. wealthy parents. That's parents that you're not doing your kids any goddamn favors here. Not a damn thing. You are making this horribly bad for your kids. You are ruining your children's lives by doing this. Stop it. Just stop it.
Also pleading guilty Monday was Devin Sloan, a Los Angeles businessman who paid $250,000 to get his son admitted to USC as a water polo recruit even though the team never the sport. Prosecutors detailed the lengths Sloan went to photograph his son wearing water polo gear and how he got a graphic designer to make the photos look legitimate.
Wow. Wow.
Those indicted in the investigation, dubbed Operation Varsity Blues, allegedly paid bribes up to $6.5 million to get their children into elite colleges, including Yale, Stanford, Georgetown, and the University of Southern California, federal prosecutors said.
A collective $6.5 million in bribes. Holy crap. This is insane. Why? Just stop, parents. Just, oh my God. And the fact that they're trying to go at this as a scam. Yeah, imagine how embarrassed those kids must be, says Sarah Reynolds. Exactly. Brain surgeon qualifications. Bought degree at double the price. Yeah, I know, right? Oh my God, that's terrifying. That is so scary.
Another well-known actress. Link. Indicted in the scam is Lori Loughlin. Best known for her role as Aunt Becky in the ABC sitcom Full House.
Oh my.
Loughlin, 54, and her husband, fashion designer Massimo Gianelli, 55, allegedly agreed to pay singer bribes totaling $500,000 in exchange for having their two daughters designated as recruits to the USC crew team, despite the fact that they did not participate in crew, thereby facilitating their admission to USC, according to the indictment.
Oh my God. Like, could you imagine all the girls that work? It's really hard to be on that team, and then these two dumbass Hollywood chicks show up. Yeah, I'm totally on this team now. Ha 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 ha. Oh my God, that's my question, and it still has yet to be answered, is how many of the kids knew? And how many of them actually feel remorse? And how many of them actually tried to stop their parents? That's a very good question, Pincalo. Very good question. Um, the girls didn't even want to go to class at UFC. They were just there for the social life. Yeah, by their own admission. Yeah. My stepmother actually told me that I should go to university not for education but to make friends. Now, she had not paid a dime for her university degree. Her parents paid for it. But my parents were not going to be paying for it. So basically she was telling me to take out student loans to make friends. It's like, wow. You insane person. This is why it's better to get a 2.2 second class degree than a first. Yeah, that's true. Way to disincentivize people that put the work into it. Yeah, exactly.
Both were initially charged with conspiracy to commit mail fraud and honest services mail fraud. When Loughlin and Gianelli declined to accept a plea deal in April, federal prosecutors filed an additional charge of conspiracy to commit money laundering against them.
So they they said fuck you to the plea deal, and now they're being charged with money laundering on top of that. Brilliant. Fucking brilliant.
A superseding indictment unsealed in April alleged the couple and 14 other parents conspired to conceal their fraud scheme by funneling bribe and other payments through the facade of the Key Worldwide Foundation, a sham charity established Singer. Lachlan and Gianelli have pleaded not guilty to the charges.
I think you mean established by Singer, author of this article. Man, this article is not very well written. It's missing some prepositions. Criminals aren't okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Singer has already pleaded guilty in a Boston federal court to charges of racketeering conspiracy, money laundering conspiracy, conspiracy to defraud the United States, and obstruction of justice. He's scheduled to be sentenced on June 19th.
That's a lot of conspiracy charges.
Several coaches involved in the scam have also pleaded guilty, including former Yale soccer coach Rudolph Rudy Meredith and former Stanford sailing coach John Van Demoer. One of Singer's top accomplices in the scandal, Mark Riddle, Link, also pleaded guilty to charges of conspiracy to commit mail fraud and honest services mail fraud, as well as conspiracy to commit money laundering.
Good Lord. That's what they should do is test these kids. If they aren't guilty, those kids should know a lot. Yeah. This is, I don't know if it, well, what they should do is, basically, unfortunately, all the kids whose parents paid for them to go to those schools need to be retested. And if they fail, they need to be removed. And for those who were put on sports teams fraudulently, need to be removed. And unfortunately, if those come with scholarships, then they lose their scholarship. All the smart criminals have yet to be caught. Yep.
Riddle, an alumnus of Harvard University, played a pivotal role in the scheme, taking the act and sat for the students whose parents conspired with Singer to pay to help secure their admission into prestigious schools.
So he took the ACTs and the ZAT tests for students. How did teachers and proctors and stuff not notice this? I don't understand how proctors noticed that the same person was taking tests. Like, were these being done online? I don't understand how this even worked. There's nothing you can't learn in college that you can't learn online. Yeah. That includes how to socially. Okay, so so nothing for you here says there's nothing that you can learn in college that you can't learn online. That includes social interaction. The higher education system at this point is obsolete. Agreed. Hello, Wikipedia snippet.
Copyright host D261.
Oh, and that's the end of that article. That was actually a pretty long article. So let's see here. Our next one. What's our next one? What's the next one that Pincalo sent us here? He sent us some pretty good one. Oh, here's a good one. WhatsApp voice calls used to inject Israeli spyware on phones. Messaging app discovers vulnerability that has been open for weeks. Interesting. Okay, here we go. Let's read this interesting article here. If my memory serves correct, you can arrange to take the Zat off-site. Okay. I see. Ted Cruz won't get caught. All right, here we go.
A vulnerability in the messaging app WhatsApp has allowed attackers to inject commercial Israeli spyware onto phones, the company and a spyware technology dealer said. You are currently
Okay.
link WhatsApp, which is used by 1.5 billion people worldwide, discovered in early May that attackers were able to install surveillance software onto both iPhones and Android phones by ringing up targets using the app's phone call function.
1.5 billion people use WhatsApp. Okay, that's kind of scary. That this is happening. This kind of makes me want to delete my WhatsApp thing. um, quite honestly, I kind of want to delete my WhatsApp now.
The malicious code, developed by the secretive Israeli company NSO Group, could be transmitted even if users did not enter their phones, and the calls often disappeared from call logs, said the spyware dealer, who was recently briefed on the WhatsApp hack. Advertisement. WhatsApp is too early into its own investigations of the vulnerability to estimate how many phones were targeted using this method, a person familiar with the issue said.
A person familiar. There's the source familiar with the matter again. Man, that guy is everywhere. He knows a lot of shit. This source familiar with the matter, he knows quite a lot about many matters. This reminds me of the old Palm Pilot business card broadcast system that allowed you to, what does it say? Oh, that allowed you to pull everyone's details and track them. Oh boy. I don't remember. I was too young for that. It's enough to make you paranoid, says Wikipedia snippet. Yeah. Like the Simpsons episode where Major League Baseball was spying on everyone. Yep. And you've always wondered why I talk such shit about WhatsApp. I always say something bad about WhatsApp, and this is why. My approach was to stay away from WhatsApp. I got sources allegedly, but I will neither confirm nor deny the assertion.
As late as Sunday, as WhatsApp engineers race to close the loophole, a UK-based human rights lawyer's phone was targeted using the same method.
Oh boy.
Researchers at the University of Toronto's Citizen Lab said they believe that the spyware attack on Sunday was linked to the same vulnerability that WhatsApp was trying to patch.
That's never good. Yeah, that is never ever good. Oh, wow. And then, or the early Facebook exploit that allowed you to pull up someone's details just by entering a phone number in the lookup generator, and you could see everyone's or anyone's details. Oh wow, that's crazy. To remove the spyware, to remove the spyware, download the file Bugs Bunny WhatsApp doc. Here's the thing, if you have a phone, you're probably being spied on. Nothing's private anymore. Yeah, but the fact that, WhatsApp, like, I don't know, it's still pretty scary to have that thought that, because WhatsApp boasts encryption and security and blah blah blah. And here this is happening. So it's a little scary, and it sucks because like I've used WhatsApp to talk with a bunch of different blind parents, and it was really cool to meet other blind moms and stuff like that. But I really don't like that this is happening with WhatsApp.
NSO's flagship product is Pegasus, a program that can turn on a phone's microphone and camera, trawl through emails and messages, and collect location data. NSO advertises its products to Middle Eastern and Western intelligence agencies and says Pegasus is intended for governments to fight terrorism and crime. NSO was recently valued at $1 billion in a leveraged buyout that involved the UK private equity fund Valbina Capital.
Wow, $1 billion. That's a pretty hefty price.
In the past, human rights campaigners in the Middle East have received text messages over WhatsApp that contained links that would download Pegasus to their phones. WhatsApp said that teams of engineers had worked around the clock in San Francisco and London to close the vulnerability. It began rolling out a fix to its servers on Friday last week, WhatsApp said, and issued a patch for customers on Monday. This attack has all the hallmarks of a private company known to work with governments to deliver spyware that reportedly takes over the functions of mobile phone operating systems, the company said. We have briefed a number of human rights organizations to share the information we can, and to work with them to notify civil society.
But why, though? Why is this happening? What's the point? I guess they started up Ashley Madison again. In case there are already suckers who didn't learn the first time. Yeah. Number of people available to break your encryption greater than its security consultants. Absolutely. No doubt about that.
WhatsApp disclosed the issue to the U.S. Department of Justice last week, according to a person familiar with the matter.
Oh, look, there he is again! The person familiar with the matter.
Justice Department spokesman declined to comment. NSO said it had carefully vetted customers and investigated any abuse. Asked about the WhatsApp attacks, NSO said it was investigating the issue. Under no circumstances would NSO be involved in the operating or identifying of targets of its technology, which is solely operated by intelligence and law enforcement agencies, the company said. NSO would not, or could not, use its technology in its own right to target any person or organization, including this individual, the UK lawyer.
So they are immediately shifting or denying blame. So, God help anyone who spies on me, the horrors they'll see. Yeah. But yeah, this is so they're trying to give themselves plausible deniability here. I don't quite know what the alternative scenario would be in which this thing gets released. Maybe somebody they like went rogue or something like that. I don't know. This is obviously somebody did something.
The UK lawyer, who declined to be identified, has helped a group of Mexican journalists and government critics and a Saudi dissident living in Canada sue NSO in Israel, alleging that the company shares liability for any abuse of its software by clients. John Scott Drelton, a senior researcher at the University of Toronto's Citizen Lab, said the attack had failed. We had a strong suspicion that the person's phone was being targeted, so we observed the suspected attack and confirmed that it did not result in infection, said Mr. Scott Drelton. We believe that the measures that WhatsApp put in place in the last several days prevented the attacks from being successful. You are currently on.
But how did you know the phone was under attack then? And how could it if you figured out it was under attack, how could it not have gotten affected? I don't quite understand that stream of consciousness.
Complimentary. Heading left, list one item. Heading
And
left.
I think that's the end of that article. So, think about whether or not you want to keep your WhatsApp. Oh, it's not the end of the article. Hold on.
Other lawyers working on the cases have been approached by people pretending to be potential clients or donors, who then try and obtain information about the ongoing lawsuits, the Associated Press reported in February. It's upsetting but not surprising that my team has been targeted with the very technology that we are raising concerns about in our lawsuits, said Alan Madhach, a Jerusalem-based lawyer who is handling lawsuits from the Mexican and Saudi citizens. This desperate reaction to hamper our work and silence us itself shows how urgent the lawsuits are, as we can see that the abuses are continuing.
So those people are saying that this is a direct response to human rights lawsuits. Wow, that's a bold statement. And I'm not sure how well you'd be able to prove that. That's really hard to prove. I'm not sure how that would work. How to prove that.
On Tuesday, NSO will also face a legal challenge to its ability to export its software, which is regulated by the Israeli Ministry of Defense. Amnesty International, which identified an attempt to hack into the phone of one of its researchers, is backing a group of Israeli citizens and civil rights group in a filing in Tel Aviv asking the Ministry of Defense to cancel NSO's export license.
So this is pretty big. If this I thought was at first a little bit of an alarm raising like conspiracy article, but this seems kind of a lot bigger than it first looked. This really looks like a response to human rights lawsuits. And I really hope that that's not the case, because that really doesn't look good. That is a far out assertion and is completely unsupportable. See, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't know how you could prove. I'm not sure how you can prove what's going on here. Um, the Israeli government doing shady shit, what a surprise. Well, all governments do shady shit, though. That's the thing. Like, what is this for sure the Israeli government? Is this for sure the NSO doing this? Is this there's a lot of questions that are not answered yet.
NSO Group sells its products to governments who are known for outrageous human rights abuses, giving them the tools to track activists and critics. The attack on Amnesty International was the final straw, said Dana Engleton, deputy director of Amnesty Tech. The Israeli Ministry of Defense has ignored mounting evidence linking NSO Group to attacks on human rights defenders. As long as products like Pegasus are marketed without proper control and oversight, the rights and safety of Amnesty International staff and that of other activists, journalists, and dissidents around the world is at risk. You are currently.
I think that's a little bit hyperbolic. I don't. I don't. This seems very weird to me. There's got to be something. There's something up with this. I can't quite put my finger on it. But there's something wrong here. There's something rotten in this state of WhatsApp.
Additional reporting by Cat.
Okay, now that's the end of the article. So there we go. That's something to mull around in our minds. So are you ready for more? So are you ready for something ridiculous? Jury awards $2 billion with a B dollars to couple claiming Monsanto's Roundup gave them cancer. So let's read about this. Let's read about this. Throw enough shit at the wall and some will stick and not get it cleaned up by the, or not get reached by the cleanup crew. Yeah. A tech company endangering people's privacy. What a shock. See, that's more that's more expectable than, yeah. Hot brandy, honey, and lemon. Oh, that sounds interesting. Interesting combination. All right. Let's go here. So it says Bayer has lost 3 trials in a row over claims that its Roundup weed killer causes cancer. So here we go.
Bayer was ordered to pay more than $2 billion in damages to a California couple who claimed they got cancer as a result of using the company's Roundup weed killer for about 30 years.
Okay. What are 2 individuals going to do with $2 billion? Why? How is that even? That sounds like a corporation amount of money.
It's the largest jury award in the United States so far this year and the 8th largest ever in a product defect claim, according to data compiled by Bloomberg. Bayer has now lost 3 trials in a row over claims that Roundup causes cancer. You are currently advertised. A jury in state court in Oakland issued the verdict Monday after 2 other California trials over the herbicide yielded combined damages of $159 million against the company. Bayer is appealing those verdicts and vowed to challenge Monday's as well.
So in total, they've had to pay. They've been they've been ruled against in total of $2,159,000,000. 30 years exposure to pretty much anything is likely to give you an increased cancer risk, says Fury Kitten. Yeah, I would agree. Making the freaking frogs gay. It's all a huge headache. Yep. Yep.
The jury's decision conflicts directly with the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's interim registration review decision released just last month. The consensus among leading health regulators worldwide that glyphosate-based products can be used safely and that glyphosate is not carcinogenic, Bayer said in a statement. The jurors agreed that Alva and Alberta Pilliad's exposure to Roundup used for residential landscaping was a substantial factor in their non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. The jury awarded damages of about $55 million for the couple's medical bills and pain and suffering on top of the punitive damages. The verdict will be vulnerable to a legal challenge by Bayer because courts have generally held that punitive damages shouldn't be more than 10 times higher than compensatory damages.
Yeah, this ruling is absolutely outrageous. $2 billion. This is clearly a lefty reaction to, they heard Monsanto cancer and went, give them money. Now I'm not saying that Bayer has always been perfect, and Monsanto has done some questionable things, but to award someone that much money, court's not supposed to be a bonanza. Court is not supposed to be a payday. Court is supposed to make you whole. This is a feelings verdict.
Roundup manufacturer Monsanto Company, which Bayer acquired last June, is the named defendant in similar U.S. lawsuits filed by at least 13,400 plaintiffs. The verdict in this trial has no impact on future cases and trials, as each one has its own factual and legal circumstances, Bayer said in its statement. Frame, advertised. Although it was a risky move to ask for an award of more than $1 billion, the 3 verdicts against Bayer show jurors are convinced by evidence against the company, said Anna Pavlik, Senior Counsel for Special Situations at United First Partners in New York.
I no, the 3 billion or the three verdicts totaling over $1 billion show that jurors are having absolutely ridiculous knee-jerk reactions. Aspirin got a bad rap for rice syndrome back in the day. Yeah, because we found out that little kids can't take aspirin. That didn't mean that they were like, ha 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 ha, let's make this painkiller and give it to kids because it'll kill them. Ha 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 ha. No, it was just that they didn't know. Um, this is silly.
In this case, there appear to be more detailed evidence damaging to Monsanto, which strengthens plaintiffs' cases down the pipeline even further, said Pavlik, who has followed the trials. Bayer chief executive Werner Baumann faces increased shareholder pressure over the litigation the company inherited from Monsanto as investors have been closely watching developments in the costly Roundup lawsuits. Bayer shares have fallen about 40% since the $63 billion Monsanto acquisition. Bayer is scheduled to face more trials over the same claims this summer in St. Louis.
40% drop in shares. Ouch. That's pretty big.
The Piliad's lawyer urged jurors to punish the company for covering up the health risks of the herbicide for decades. He told the panel that his punitive damages request was roughly based on the gross profit of $892 million recorded in 2017 by Monsanto's Agricultural Chemicals Division. You are currently on a text element inside of web content. 2. That is a number that changes things, attorney Brent Wisner said during closing arguments at the end of a month-long trial. Monsanto countered that the Piliads had histories of poor health, disease, and compromised immune systems that increased their risk of developing cancer. Defense attorney Tarek Ismail emphasized that Monsanto wouldn't be responsible if the couple would have developed lymphoma without exposure to Roundup.
Wait. So just because they used Roundup and they got lymphoma, they're saying Monsanto did it? That's crazy. Let's see. Remember when everyone stopped the use of tropospheric CNC aerosols propellants and instead moved to a new greenhouse gas despite decades of testing? Yeah, I remember when people said that hairspray was causing a hole in the ozone layer.
Though some investors think a third loss could accelerate a global settlement, which analysts have said could top $5 billion, Pavlik thinks Bayer will fight on because it won't start negotiating from a position of weakness. If plaintiffs continue to win cases decided by juries in Missouri, the momentum in their favor may push Bayer to begin to negotiate, she said. You are currently on a frame.
That's financial terrorism, basically. This is financial coercion. If we keep making them pay ridiculous amounts of money, they'll give up and they'll start negotiating, so that they'll have to pay out more amounts of money from the settlement. That's what an interesting psychological look into the anti-corporation, anti like, and I'm not saying every corporation is good, you know what I mean? But we have a market that allows for the corporations to get big, and it's called capitalism, and it does work. This is crazy.
Advertisement. One's advertisement most read.
And I
Link.
think, yeah, that's the end of this article. So that's a $2 billion $2 billion verdict for one couple. Wow. Oh, hello, straight cis male. Let's see. Chat, remember when they said cocaine was a cure-all? Yep. Well, I don't remember, but I remember hearing about stories about it. So, here's another crazy headline. You ready for this one, guys? Boeing crash payouts will be calculated by how long passengers knew they were doomed. That's right. That's what you heard. Boeing crash payouts calculated by how long passengers knew they were doomed. Okay. The longer passengers and crew were aware of their fate and suffered mental anguish, the larger the likely payout, says the subheading. So this is from the Telegraph. Let's see here. All right. Here we go.
Settlements to the families of 346 people who died in the two catastrophic Boeing MAX plane crashes will be calculated, in part, by how long the victims knew they were doomed.
How do you calculate the doom factor from dead people? I know that's kind of a horrible way to put it, but seriously, how do you calculate the factor or the doom factor for people who you can't interview? I Wow.
Lawyers handling claims against the U.S. aerospace company said the longer the passengers and crew were aware of their fate and suffered mental anguish, the larger the likely payout. You are currently on it.
Wow.
There's a better chance of financial recovery if it took minutes rather than seconds for the plane to crash. You are currently on a textile semicolon. Link. Link. Tweet. You are in both cases. 6 months later, on the first passenger plane, Lion Air Flight 610, ditched into the Java Sea 12 minutes after taking off from Jakarta, Indonesia on October 29 last year.
All right.
6 months later, on March 10th, Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 crashed 6 minutes after takeoff from Addis Ababa.
Voiceover made that sound funny.
End of main. You are currently link. Share.
God damn it,
Link,
why is
image,
there share
link,
linked right in the middle of this article?
Click link. 1. Quantity. 1. It's 1 click. Heading level 5. Accident protection. Heading level 5. Add.
What the fuck? Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. For some reason, the article forced Amazon to open. Sorry about that, guys. Let me relocate the body of this article. That was kind of weird. How odd. Apparently, I'm supposed to look at Amazon and the Echo. Okay. Do. There is the body of the article. Okay, I apologize. Let's keep going here.
In both cases, the jets were 737 MAX 8 models and all aboard died.
That's not good. Two jets. The longer they scream, the more money for family. Yeah, I guess so. It's a Sir Adamantine. Hi, buddy. Sounds like they are fixing to find out how much money the company owes the families by getting a Ouija board and talking to dead people. Scream if you want to go faster. Yeah, I know, right?
See also. Link. You get into what? The bottom line is Boeing's exposure is much more substantial than in any other case that I've been a part of in my quarter century of representing families in plane crash cases, said Brian Alexander, a New York aviation lawyer for victims of the Ethiopian Airlines jet. You get into what did you know and when did you know it? The two disasters, with similar characteristics, led to the worldwide grounding of all Boeing 737 MAX 8 models.
I didn't know that actually, that after the second crash that all the 737 MAX 8 models were grounded. I didn't know that at all.
Both pilots desperately struggled to take control of the aeroplanes as they intermittently dived while reaching speeds of close to 600 miles per hour. Investigators have focused on the malfunctioning MCAS, Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System, an automated safety feature designed to prevent a stall. Earlier this month, Dennis Muhlenberg, the Boeing CEO, acknowledged its automatic flight control system had played a role in the two crashes.
Automation. Gotta love automation. And this is why I prefer 767s and Airbus, says Fury Kitten. I've actually never flown. And quite frankly, I'm not anxious to fly because I keep hearing about stuff like this. And there used to be this show on Discovery Channel called Mayday that when we had cable, Pincolo used to watch quite often. And it was recreations of different airline accidents throughout the years. And I'm just like, I really don't ever want to fly. um, what I want to know is they had angle controlled flight on the 747s, which are different engine models. They were running from a standard 747. Okay. I, for one, welcome our mechanical overlords. Well, or hail Skynet, says Jolly Rogers Bilgewater. I got airsick on a plane, says Wikipedia snippet. Ah. Flying is a pain, says Sir Adamantin. Yeah, I bet.
The full details of what happened in the two accidents will be issued by the government authorities in the final reports, but, with the release of the preliminary report of the Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 accident investigation, it's apparent that in both flights the MCAS activated in response to erroneous angle of attack information. You are link. 0 comments. Heading.
So that's the end.
Heading level 3.
Yeah, that's the end of that article. So it got wrong. The automated system got wrong information and decided, hey, let's activate. So that's always helpful. God, airplanes freak me out. I'm not gonna lie. Dad and I had to take flight school for drone and pilot's license. Why didn't they trust their eyeballs and instinct instead of instruments? I don't know. I used to fly around 3 to 4 times a day around Europe and Africa in an old or on some really dodgy rates. Used to really enjoy it. What? 2 to 6 times what? I was only shot at 5 or 6 times and only had 2 crash incidents. Oh my. That's kind of crazy. So, that was all of the stories from Pincalo. Now we're gonna get into the stories that I found. So the first one I have is this one is blind people call for obstacles action, and this is from the BBC.com. Um, let's see. So the picture we've got here is an advertising billboard on the sidewalk in front of a cafe. And before we start this article, I just want to say that there are a lot of what we in as blind people and orientation and mobility instructors call sidewalk clutter. Um, there was um, there's like in my city, for example, there's planters. Um, there are sometimes like this article has said advertisement boards. Sometimes for some reason there are poles like installed in the sidewalk in the middle of the sidewalk. In some other cities, there are a lot of restaurant cafes with sidewalk seating. Um, it's so this is a an article about sidewalk obstacles. Let's read it here.
In cities nowadays, you will find yourself dodging street furniture, tables, and advertising boards. Now imagine negotiating those obstacles as a blind or partially sighted person. The Royal National Institute for the Blind, RNIB, has said that advertising boards or A-boards are the main cause of injury to blind people on streets.
Now, see, if you get injured as a like if you know that there are a lot of street furniture in your route, what you need to be doing is using your cane properly and using your blocking techniques. They actually teach you in orientation and mobility blocking techniques to either block your face or your lower body. And what you do is you hold your arm up, your forearm up of I'm doing this. I know you guys can't see it, but I'm doing it as I describe it. You hold so your forearm blocks your face. And then the other one is you extend your forearm out a little bit in front of your chest or stomach. And if you're using your cane properly, it will detect lower stuff like tables, um, chairs, planters, stuff like that. Now, I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that blind people um, have no reason to complain because sidewalks to me should be for walking, not for street signs and stuff, um, or billboards. Um, but you do, injuries. There are some things to help you so that you don't get injured.
The organization's campaign entitled, "You are currently a link, who put that there, black on white," is aiming to encourage people to report A-board trip hazards.
Their campaign is called "Who Put That There?" Really? Come on, guys. And they want people to report trip hazards in, instead of see, this is what I mean about campaigns. You can't you've got to at least try to be nice first before you start snarking at people. Because the minute you come at people with a snide or snotty tone or approach, the minute people don't want to help you. This is my big issue with a lot of disability activism in particular, is that activists tend to be very snarky and snotty from the get-go without taking the time to explain why the thing that they're snarking about is an issue. Um, I've always said you always start out being nice, and then if people show that they are completely unwilling to listen to you, then you snark at them.
Tony Barkley, who is registered blind and regularly visits Belfast city centre, makes his way around using a white cane or assisted by his guide dog.
Tony Barkley? Is he Reg Barkley's blind ancestor? Okay, I'm too much of a Trek nerd.
He explained that the problem with the boards is that their point of contact with the ground can be less than an inch. He explained that the problem with the boards is that their point of contact with the ground can be less than an inch.
But then your cane should be able to pick them up. Your cane, you should be doing 2-point touch or constant contact. And your cane should absolutely pick that up. And your guide dog should be helping you around your obstacle. That's one of the things they're trained to do.
A-boards are a pain in the butt because we don't know where they are, he said. It's like a slalom course. It's become really, really dangerous.
That I will give you. Depending on how much sidewalk or street furniture is on the sidewalk, you can end up having to step down into the road, which obviously is not at all what you want to be doing. Or you, if you really don't want to step into the road, you end up having to get closer to the buildings, in which case you risk getting doors opened on you, stuff like that. Maybe running into signage or stuff that's attached to the building. Let's see. Contact the shop owner immediately and advise them to move their foot or their board to either the 1-foot perimeter near the edges of the pavement, or to just move it out of the way. Yeah. Pretty much.
Heading level 2, safety and convenience. Bill Foster also uses a stick to get around and said he has been complaining to Belfast City Council about street furniture for about 3 years.
Okay, you just called it a white cane, which is the proper term in the fucking paragraph before it. And now you're going to say that the next person you're going to talk about uses a stick? Really? Okay, you want to draw people, you want to get people aware of the things that are affecting blind people, and you can't even bother to keep using the correct terminology throughout your entire article. I know it's kind of a nitpick, but like, come on. You just called it a white cane. Why do you have to now call it a stick?
One of the problems he has with A-boards is that they are all different sizes.
Yes,
you are currently
that is true. Element. There is no one size fits all advertisement board. Some of them are small and near the ground. Some of them are very high up with very sharp corners. So this is, this is a bit of an issue.
You think you're passing it with the white stick, but next thing you kick them or trip over them, he added. You are current image caption A-boards on Belfast image A-boards on Belfast's in text. A. You are currently in a out end of. In recent years, the Northern Ireland executive encouraged the development of a cafe culture in Northern Ireland's towns and cities. Businesses wanting to place chairs and tables outside their premises have to get a license. But the situation with A-board seems to be more problematic. The RNIB told BBC News NI that councils have the power to remove them or to ensure they are located in a safe space or within an enclosed area. However, Belfast City Council said that the main responsibility for ensuring clear pavements lies with Stormone's Department for Infrastructure.
Okay, so we've got a classic pass the buck situation here. Someone says it's someone else's job, and then that person says, no, it's this other department's job. This is something that blind people and quite frankly, many physically disabled people have to hear. Sorry. Put more boards on the pavement. Let's see. Hello, Martin H. So let's see here.
Councils do have some powers under the pavement cafe legislation. However, there is still ongoing consultation on how this is implemented and enforced by councils, it added. The Department for Infrastructure's initial response to BBC News NI was that its understanding was that councils had powers to remove the boards.
See? This is a whole passing the buck situation. When you, for a perfect example of something that Pincalo and I have run into in like a pass the buck situation, is snow clearing in the wintertime. We lived in a very highly trafficked area near a hospital. And yet the sidewalks right in front of the hospital were never cleared. And we went to the hospital and told them, listen, you guys need to clear your sidewalks. There's a blind person here who's traveling here every day. Not to mention there were a few people in wheelchairs in the neighborhood, and it was their, first of all, the other crazy part was the driveway that this sidewalk was in front of was to their emergency room section. So not only was there giant piles of snow on the sidewalk that was making it impossible to walk, but it was, you're pretty much blocking your fucking emergency section with snow. And the hospital was like, "Oh, that's the city's job." And we went to the city, and "Oh, that's the hospital's job." And it was a back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So I totally understand. Like, this is a totally pass the buck, back and forth situation.
In a later statement, it said it has the authority to remove obstructions from footpaths where they are considered to prejudice the safety or convenience of pedestrians. Heading Level 2. Use common sense. Democratic Unionist Party, DUP, MLA Jim Wells, who chairs. Link. The Northern Ireland. Link. The Northern Ireland Assembly's all-party group on visual impairment. Said the issue comes up at almost every meeting. There has to be a role for statutory authorities, he added. You are currently on an image caption with image cap retailers would use common sense when displaying a boards, says Glenn Roberts. End of retailers, but retailers placing the board seem to have no regard for the visually impaired, he claimed.
Well, and it's not just the visually impaired. You're blocking sidewalks. You're blocking pedestrian paths. There are people with strollers. There are people in wheelchairs. There are people, there are like elderly people, people maybe using walking canes. Uh, it That's not just blind people that these boards are obstructing.
But Glenn Roberts of the trade body Retail NI disputed that claim, saying that retailers wanted to ensure their businesses are accessible for everyone in the community.
Well, okay, but a blind person's not going to be able to read your advertisement board, and when they walk into it, they're really not going to want to read it. They're probably going to want to throw it across the street. So, making sure that your business is accessible to everyone does not necessarily mean putting advertisements in the middle of the sidewalk. That's basically slapping people in the face with your goods. I don't think it's going to work that well.
He said a total ban was not an approach his organization would favor.
Well, nobody's asking for a total ban. They're just saying you guys need to not put them in the middle of the sidewalk. I didn't see anyone, and I didn't see anywhere in this article any of the visually impaired or blind people say there needs to be a total ban on advertisement boards.
I would trust our members to use common sense, he said. Last year. Link. Edinburgh City Council. Link. Edinburgh City Council implemented an outright ban on A-boards.
See, now that's too far, I think. I think that businesses do have a right to advertise. Now, do they have a right to block pedestrian traffic to do so? No. But do they have a right to advertise their goods and their sale and their wares? Absolutely. Any obstruction also lowers the fire occupancy level for every business on that route. Oh, I didn't think about that. Fury Kitten. I didn't think about that at all.
Across the Scottish capital. That was not without controversy as the link. Owners of businesses. That link. Owners of businesses in side streets and arcades felt it put them at a disadvantage.
It does put them at a disadvantage.
Period. A-boards may be the most vexing and often painful obstruction blind and partially sighted people face on city streets, but in many ways they represent just the tip of the iceberg. Any unpredictable blockage can cause problems, including bins left for collection, cars parked half on the pavement, and overhanging branches.
Cars, okay, that pisses me off the most, is the cars that are parked with their two front goddamn wheels on a driveway and the whole back end of their car just sitting on the sidewalk. That happens a lot in my neighborhood. It really pisses me off. Hello, irate prostate. I've spent far too long doing security on high streets and markets, I think. Let's see. They forgot the cop cars that park 100% on the sidewalks. Yes, that does happen, people.
Heading level 2. Related topics.
Okay, that's the end of that article. Look, I found an article that wasn't about retarded disabilities. I wanted to, a retarded blind article. I wanted to actually read an article that presented an actual issue for blind people, and I found one. Yay! All right, let's see what the next one is. These next four. Sorry, these next four come from Gunfox. Who did I miss? Oh, you're saying hi to everybody in chat. Ah. So this next one here. Okay, so San Francisco may ban city and police use of facial recognition. So this is an interesting thing. So it says public safety and civil rights groups battle over Face ID tech. We're back to tech stuff now. All right, here we go. Back to technology.
San Francisco AP. San Francisco is on track to become the first U.S. city to ban the use of facial recognition by police and other city agencies, reflecting a growing backlash against a technology that's creeping into airports, motor vehicle departments, stores, stadiums, and home security cameras.
Okay.
Government agencies around the U.S. have used the technology for more than a decade to scan databases for suspects and prevent identity fraud.
Which I think is probably a good thing, wouldn't you say?
But recent advances in artificial intelligence have created more sophisticated computer vision tools, making it easier for police to pinpoint a missing child or protester in a moving crowd, or for retailers to analyze shoppers' facial expressions as they peruse store shelves.
Okay, so why not put regulations on the technology instead of banning it? I don't understand the thought process here. This is the same as banning guns. Yes, they can be used. Technology can be used in insidious ways. However, technology is also very useful. Just like a gun can be used for very evil purposes by an evil person. It is not the gun that is evil, it is the person. Just like it is not the facial recognition software that is the problem, it is the people using it. I wouldn't oppose facial recognition as much if we all had sufficient access to the text. There's nothing for you here. That is a good point. That's a very good point.
Efforts to restrict its use are getting pushback from law enforcement groups and the tech industry, though it's far from a united front. Microsoft, while opposed to an outright ban, has urged lawmakers to set limits on the technology, warning that leaving it unchecked could enable an oppressive dystopia reminiscent of George Orwell's novel 1984.
See, exactly. Regulate the technology. Don't ban the technology. Come up with ways to put laws in place that can regulate the use of the technology and regulate who can use the technology. Don't ban it.
Face recognition is one of those technologies that people get how creepy it is, said Alvaro Bedoya, who directs Georgetown University's Center on Privacy and Technology. It's not like cookies on a browser. There's something about this technology that really sets the hairs on the back of people's heads up. Without regulations barring law enforcement from accessing driver's license databases, people who have never been arrested could be part of virtual police lineups without their knowledge, skeptics of the technology say.
Well, that's a little bit silly. Why would people why would you start using pictures of people who were innocent in police lineups just because you have access to driver's license databases? That's let's be honest, they just don't want all the recordings of people shitting in the streets. That's not a that's not a bad hypothesis there, Calvin. Let's see, says Fury Kitten. I am a licensed CCTV operator. We have extremely strict rules about who can access, who has access to details and control of it, who can access the or release the information, and when records are purged. But internal face tracking is used in an abstracted sense. Tracking customers' movements. Sorry. Or tracking customer shopping habits, and a number of time or a limit of time, as opposed to entrapment or tracking. Yeah, it's not the same thing. It's really not.
They worry people will one day not be able to go to a park, store, or school without being identified and tracked. Already, a handful of big box stores across the US are trying out cameras with facial recognition that can guess their customers' age, gender, or mood as they walk by, with the goal of showing them targeted, real-time ads on in-store video screens. You are currently on a
See,
text.
that's a little that's bordering on creepy, but I can see why advertisers are trying to do that because that's the digital age and that's how we seem to be progressing. I don't think that means that that they're gonna start drilling wireless cameras into trees and installing nanny cams on the playground. I think that's a bit of a leap. Did your software just assume my gender? Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
If San Francisco adopts a ban, other cities, states, or even Congress could follow, with lawmakers from both parties looking to curtail government surveillance and others hoping to restrict how businesses analyze the faces, emotions, and gaze of an unsuspecting public.
Okay, but how is it unsuspecting if you guys are talking about it in the news? Like, clearly this information is publicly available. You guys are speaking about it in the news. You've written articles. I've read about the technology in the stores in a news article a couple weeks ago. This information is not buried. What do you mean unsuspecting public? Sanctuary City, big surprise they don't want the technology being used. Yeah, I know, right?
The California legislature is considering a proposal prohibiting the use of facial ID technology on body cameras. A bipartisan bill in the U.S. Senate would exempt police applications but set limits on businesses analyzing people's faces without their consent.
See, using stuff like that for police work, I think, is absolutely necessary, and to ban it is absolutely short-sighted, and can severely affect the effectiveness of police work.
Legislation similar to San Francisco's is pending in Oakland, California, and on Thursday another proposed ban was introduced in Somerville, Massachusetts. Bedoya said a ban in San Francisco, the most technologically advanced city in our country, would send a warning to other police departments thinking of trying out the imperfect technology. But Daniel Castro, vice president of the industry-backed Information Technology and Innovation Foundation, said the ordinance is too extreme to serve as a model.
I would agree. It is a very extreme bill. I don't think it's wise, and I think that it will hamper more than help. I don't think this is a good idea. Let's see. I draw the line at anal recognition, says Skeptalk. Oh. Assuming you are in CCTV all the time, in any conurbation, you are probably correct. I mean, you can know too much, says Skeptalk. That is between me, my doctor, and that one lady I met one night while I was drunk. Oh dear. I just don't want the government to be able to track every single one of my moves, that's all. That's fair. That's fair. I do think there should be some regulation imposed, but I don't think banning this technology is a wise idea.
It might find success in San Francisco, but I will be surprised if it finds success in a lot of other cities, he said. You are currently on link, sitemap.
And I think that's the end of that article.
You are currently on a link. To click this
Hush.
link,
I know I'm on a link. Be quiet. So, moving along to the next article that we have here. Students clash over hijab at Tehran University. And this is from France 24. So things are getting heated in Tehran, sorry. We've got a picture taken from February 2nd or 7th of women in hijab walking. Let's see here. So here we go.
Clashes erupted between Iranian students at Tehran University on Monday during a demonstration against the enforcement of wearing hijab or Islamic veil, media reports said. A number of students gathered, claiming that morality police and security forces had entered the university to warn students against failing to observe compulsory hijab laws, the semi-official ISNA news agency reported.
Okay, interesting. So that's... I wonder if we're... I wonder if we're going to see another version of Tiananmen Square over this. I really do.
The agency reported that a vice president in charge of cultural affairs at the university had attempted to speak to the students but was physically prevented from doing so. The vice president, Majid Sarsangi, denied any police or security forces had entered the university grounds. But he said two groups of students with opposing thoughts and ideals unfortunately clashed with each other while we tried to calm down the enraged students.
So he's saying that no police actually came in, but there was some students with opposing views. Oh yeah, I did see this the girl Soph was deplatformed. I saw the Sinatra's video. Let's see.
ISMA published parts of a statement issued by the students protesting enforcement methods that said female students faced severe checks when entering the university. The imposition of one type of attire on students is a direct violation of their human rights, it added.
It's interesting to see that we've got people talking about human rights in a place like Tehran. That's good. Um, I like I said, I wonder if we're gonna see another sort of student protest the way we did in China. This is very interesting.
Fars news agency, which is close to ultra-conservatives, said scuffles broke out between the protesters and other students who supported the enforcement of hijab when demonstrators began marching in the grounds and shouting what it called law-breaking slogans. They were shouting slogans against attire laws and observance of hijab. Ali Talawi, the head of Tehran University's student passage organization, told Fars, adding the protesters' statement shows they are against Islam itself.
Yeah, see, that's not a good sign. That those yeah, this is not this is not a good not a good sign at all. Off to the gulag, says Calvic AD. Yeah. Tiananmen 2, Electric Boogaloo. If you think it's getting scary out here in the States, you should see the stuff being imported from China. Yeah. Not off to the gulag. The gulag's being brought to you, says Skeptalk. That's not far off.
There were no reports of any casualties or arrests. Following the 1979 Islamic Revolution, compulsory hijab was enforced throughout Iran, with women forced to dress modestly and cover themselves with the Islamic veil. Every year, with the advent of the holy Islamic month of Ramadan, authorities strictly enforce the mandatory Islamic dress code. There have been a number of protests, mostly by women over the years, with the latest major protests being the Doctrine Hijab, or the Girls of Revolution Street. That particular protest began after an Iranian woman stood on a pillar box on Engelab Avenue in December 2017 without the mandatory long coat and raised her white veil on a stick, an act that was copied by women in different cities in spite of arrests that followed.
See, this is interesting. We are seeing protests. We're seeing demonstrations. Um, this is gonna get really, really ugly. Before any change occurs, if any change occurs. Um,
2019 AFP. You may also like.
okay, so that's the end of that article. And so I've got two more, I believe. Let's see what I have next here. Oh, yes. Judge approves unusual court transfer for man who, judge approves unusual court transportation plan for man who weighs over 900 pounds. Coming soon to locations near you. Ramadan. Oh my god, Bombathon. Oof. Oof. All right. Come on. I just want the frickin' story. Sorry, guys. It's one of those buried stories. It is a buried story. It's very annoying. A badly laid out website. There we go. Found it. Found it. Okay. Here we go. First, let's see what if chat has any more to say. You will awaken each morning to a... Oh god. My voiceover's making that too crazy. You put on your uniform, eat the state-supplied Soylent. Most party leaders, or some party members, get meat sometimes and off on the bus. And off to work on the workers' bus of happiness. Oh my goodness, Skeptalk.
A man who weighs more than 900 pounds is set to be brought to federal court in Richmond on Monday, after the approval of a plan involving the FBI, the U.S. Marshals Service, the Richmond Ambulance Authority, the Henrico County Division of Fire, and state and local emergency personnel.
Good lord! It's a fucking state freaking operation just to get this guy's fat ass into court? What did he do? How did he do it if he's so goddamn fat? Holy moly. What on earth did he do?
Kenneth T. Hicks, 48, of Emporia, who is charged in a cocaine conspiracy case, is scheduled to plead guilty before U.S. Magistrate Judge David J. Novak and could be taken into custody immediately. On Tuesday, Novak approved an unusual transportation plan for Hicks sought by the government and his lawyer in an effort to protect his health, safety, and dignity.
Yeah, it's very dignified. You require a freaking federal... You've got the FBI involved to take your fat ass to court over cocaine. Clearly, you did not take enough cocaine because you are 900 pounds. How did they move him? Forklift? I have no idea. 900 pounds. He wasn't doing cocaine. It was flour. No shit.
The arrangements could involve cutting through a wall where he lives, bracing the structure, and even cutting down some trees.
Oh my god. What the hell? You guys need to do construction and forestry to get this motherfucker to court? Wow, how much cocaine did he sell, guys? How much cocaine was he selling that you need to do this much work? Need to cut that coke with some meth, says Skeptalk. Yeah, apparently.
Court papers show that the alleged conspiracy to distribute and possess with the intent to distribute more than a pound of cocaine took place from 2013 into 2017.
This is all over a pound of coke?
Wait,
let's read this again.
Court papers show that the alleged conspiracy to distribute and possess with the intent to distribute more than a pound of cocaine took place from 2013 into 2017.
Oh, more than okay, so... But how much did he actually sell, though?
At least 3 of the 7 people charged in the conspiracy have pleaded guilty. Hicks, who has not been in custody, was allowed to make an initial court appearance via video link on March 21st. He asked authorities for help to get into the federal courthouse on East Broad Street in Richmond for Monday's hearing.
How is he going to get into the courthouse, though? If they have to cut his house up and cut down trees, how's he supposed to get into the courthouse? I don't even think it was flour. It sounds like he was mainlining butter, says Fury Kitten. Yeah, it really does.
A joint agreement by the government and the defense filed this week asked Novak to approve the transportation plan to get Hicks from his residence. He lives in a dwelling attached to the rear of a mobile home, to the loading dock of the courthouse for the hearing.
He lives at the... Oh my god, of course he lives in a dwelling attached to the back of a mobile home. Of course! Oh my god. And then he has to go to the court's loading dock. Why didn't they just set up a camera? I don't know. Oh my lord. Courts have double doors, says Calvic AD. Or all you need, sorry.
Link. For Hicks asked that the FBI, the Marshal Service, first responders, and others assess any medical issues he may have. Once the medical personnel confirm that the defendant can be moved, the FBI will determine the best way to accomplish this while ensuring the safety and well-being of the defendant, as well as all government personnel, stated the request to Novak. Third-party ad content. Depending on his current weight, he may be placed on a gurney and taken out through a doorway and down a ramp.
Oh my lord.
However, if it proves necessary to protect Hicks' safety, the FBI and U.S. Marshals may determine that it is necessary to open a large hole in the wall of the structure in order to facilitate the use of a device capable of lifting the defendant's weight.
Stop eating. Seriously. How big are prison cells again? I think they're 8 by 12? 8 by 8? I can't remember. Hey, functional. Let's see. 900 pounds. What possible contribution could you make to humanity? Saved to be carved into tasty roasts and chops. Yeah. So this is a courtroom appearance from the Kool-Aid guy, says Fury Kitten. I guess so. Bread and water for the next 6 months. No, dude, not even bread. Just give him a fucking IV drip. At least he wasn't hard to catch.
This procedure may also require the removal of the ramp near his doorway and trees on the property. This procedure may require the bracing of the floor and the removal of parts of the ceiling structure as well. Continue the request approved by the judge. All steps will be taken to minimize damage and protect the defendant's property.
Oh, Lord. Dude, you are fat. You need help. You are a fat man. You are Jabba the Coke dealer. That's who you are.
The papers add that Hicks has been told that if he pleads guilty Monday, he will be taken into custody and transported to a secure medical facility.
A secure medical facility. Jail for fat people. He's not fat. It's glandular, says Fury Kitten. Fugitive on the run, lol. Yep. They'll put him on the... they'll put him on the methadone diet for 6 months. Oh. Let's see. With reinforced floors. Yep.
Link. F Green. 804. Link. Facebook.
That's the end of that article. I think we have one more. Uno más. Uno más artículo. Men ordered not to look at women during Ramadan in Iran's hardliners tighten control amid nuclear threat. So, pay no attention to that woman behind the burqa, apparently. No more fat people articles, please. Well, we know he won't be on the lam. Ah, ha, ha, ha. Oh, my goodness. Okay. All right. Women were warned to respect the hijab more than ever. Oh, all right. I see. All right. We've got a lovely freaking annoying site that refreshes with crap. So bear with me here.
On in Iran have been ordered not to look at women during Ramadan as part of a round of draconian restrictions imposed by the increasingly isolated regime. For the love of pop, Anthony H. M. On in a sign of frustration with growing civil discontent. On in a sign of frustration with growing civil discontent and economic. POPEC. Link. Pain caused by U.S. sanctions. Hardliners in Iran's government are forcing through unusually strict social diktats to bring people into line.
Oh, that's always good.
The country's judiciary has announced that those eating in public during the fasting period are also in breach of laws and will be prosecuted. South India.
Jesus Christ. So even if you're not, like, if you're a Christian, okay, and you're eating during Ramadan in public, you're going to be prosecuted. That's crazy.
My personal advice to women is to respect the hijab even more than before, and gentlemen must avoid looking directly at female passersby. Ghulam Hussein Ismaili, a judiciary spokesperson, said, anyone ignoring these instructions during the Ramadan will be committing an offense and should expect some punishment from the law enforcement units. Nikolai.
Wow.
The Pentagon announced yesterday that it is deploying an amphibious assault ship and a Patriot missile battery to the Middle East. Credit, Buland. The Pentagon announced. End of. The morality police in Iran added that they will now arrest anyone playing music on their car radio and will tow their car away and hand them a heavy fine. Honest.
Jesus Christ.
Mogolan.
This is insane. We are going to have another Tiananmen in Iran. This is my prediction now.
The new restrictions come as U.S. is building up its military presence in the Persian Gulf, while the public concern inside Iran about the economic consequences of simping relations with Washington grows. An important Yongshang mark and period du cable as.
Oh, sorry.
On Saturday, the U.S. ratcheted pressure further by announcing. Link. It was deploying a Patriot missile defense system to the Middle East, adding that more Navy ships with amphibious vehicles would join a strike group being led by the USS Ronald Reagan aircraft carrier in the Persian Gulf. U.S. B-52 bombers have arrived at a base in Qatar, the Pentagon said.
Oh, wow. They've sent B-52s as well to Qatar. That's insane.
Iran flexed its own muscles last week by threatening to begin enriching uranium if European powers don't fight to keep the nuclear deal alive after Donald Trump walked away from the agreement and imposed harsh sanctions. And 14-karat white.
That's pretty scary. Wait, Tim Conway's dead?
Diamond in.
I didn't know Tim Conway was dead.
Diamond in. President Rouhani said the remaining countries in the deal must find a way to protect Iran's oil and banking industries from U.S. sanctions, or he would put Iran on the path to nuclear weapons. A platinum, 18.
Oh my God. As if you're not already on the path to nuclear weapons.
Last week, the value of U.S. dollar against the national currency rial reached record high, with $1 selling at 16,000 rials on black markets.
Wow.
Platinum. U.S. sanctions have ground down the Iranian economy. Credit, Vahid Salemi/AP figure. Gerard, U.S. and Iran's economy is beset by a near 50% inflation. Its currency has almost collapsed. Labor and civil servant strikes are commonplace, and the conservative establishment faces an increasing women's rights movement.
Well, then maybe you guys should start fixing some shit. Fix yo shit, Iran.
Mid-century Danish sofa is recent nationwide floods have also left farming land of 26 provinces in ruin and diseases threatening millions in the rural areas of Iran. Muhammad Ali Hussein. However, senior Iranian officials have warned about the public discontent turning into street protests, as food and fuel rationing similar to those during the war with Iraq have been suggested by the government as options to deal with the shortages. Muhammad Ali religious content. Giacomo Balla,
wow.
Hussein Salami of the Revolutionary Guard said, the holy month of Ramadan is a reminder to us for being steadfast in our confrontation with the world arrogance, as they seem to have a war deployment against us in all economic, cultural and social fronts, but not in physical manner. Our mission is to block all their paths and defuse their plots by any means we can.
Dude, you guys are the ones who seem to have the problem with us.
Lizzie Victor.
Oh my God. Oh, let's see. I think any country that ignores basic human rights should not be traded with. I would tend to agree with you. They cannot even keep their shit in check, but they still threaten the US. Yep. Sounds like they should hold up their end of the deal. Also, what the hell is Europe going to do to change what the US is doing? I think is what it says. Oh yeah, what the hell is Europe going to do to change what the US does? Just look at Europe. Yeah, exactly. There are a billion ways we could deliver a nuclear or strategic missile attack to Iran, from fire command to a lake created is less than 15 minutes. Yep. So that is the end of that article, guys. And it's carried us to 155. All right. Yay. We didn't run out of stories today. All right. So we've got now about 5 more minutes. So if you guys have anything you want to say or ask, now's your time. Um, let's see. America said, America said, Lake Iran, nice glow to it. Yeah. Europe said, Allahu Akbar. Oh, oof. Let's see. Let's see. Wait. Oh, Soph got her third strike this morning. Yeah, I know, I heard. Aloha snack bar. That's funny. I wonder how long that 900-pound guy would last in Iran. Oh man, that's funny. I wonder too that probably not very long. Probably not very long at all. To be honest with you. Let's see here. What else is chat saying? Let's see. Just that Tim Conway's son was very close to his dad. You might want to let him know how much you liked his dad's comedy. He's probably feeling it pretty hard. Yeah, if anyone has his like Twitter, like the Twitter for Tim Conway's kid or whatever, just send him a quick, condolence, or you know, because Tim Conway was really he was pretty good. So rest in peace, Tim Conway. It's I mean, 85 luckily is a good long life. Um, Thankfully, he did make it to 85. But it's still, it still sucks. It is still a sucky thing to have to, especially for his son. So, all right. Well, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream today and the stories that I found for you. Please come back tomorrow at noon p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central for the Wednesday coffee stream, which is a Wednesdays with Skep. I hope you guys will come and listen to Skep and I talk about news and different things. And also remember that this Friday, Jeff Holiday is going to be joining me for a coffee stream, Friday guest day. I hope everyone enjoyed today's stream. Oh, and I think this is Tim Conway's son's. Wait. Oh, Tim Conway's website. Yep. Skep just put Tim Conway's website in the chat. So I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their day. If I'm still conscious, I shall remember not to pass out during it. Well, maybe you should get some sleep between now and then, Fury Kitten. So I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Stay safe out there. Enjoy the spring weather. Join Skep Talk and I tomorrow for Wednesdays with Skep. And we'll see everyone tomorrow. Have a great one, guys.